Hello, everybody, and welcome to our latest episode of our newest podcast, Waiting and Finding. My name is Seth, and my wife Sarah is here.
Hey guys, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus. We became parents, and life just hit us really hard as far as new opportunities and exhaustion and being busy. It was just a constant battle.
Yes, I can't think of a more crazy life change than having a baby and everything that comes with that.
We're very grateful to all of our family that was able to step out for us and reach across the aisle, help us get to where we are now. And we are excited to finally be back behind these microphones in our kitchen, speaking maybe just a little bit softer as we have a baby sleeping in the crib.
Yes, we are so happy to be back recording for you guys, and we hope that this episode is a help and an encouragement, and that hopefully you learned something from it.
Our scripture of the day is from Proverbs 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. The Bible does speak about money. And when it speaks about money, it speaks about wisdom. Joseph is very notable for his interpretation of dreams, but the wisdom he was given was for Egypt to take all of the food and to store it against the 7 years of famine that were to come. So we know that it is biblical for us to save. We know that it is biblical for us to be owners rather than borrowers when it comes to our personal belongings, our assets, the things that we acquire. And we know that in the season of waiting is perhaps one of the greatest opportunities we have in our lifetime to prepare for a season that after we get past waiting, especially if kids come quickly, when that wallet and that dollar are going to be stretched, they are going to be drained, they are going to be pulled on. And we want to talk about the value of that time in the season of waiting that you can earn and spend. So Sarah.
Yes, Seth?
You had a personal experience in the world of waiting and finding before you and I even got married.
Yes, I did. I bought my first car, like real big adult purchase. And I bought my dream car.
The frog.
What we now call the junk, but it's a Juke. And it was just my dream car. My first car that was really old, my dad had got it for me. It got totaled by a deer jumping out in front of me on my way home from work one night. And so I went on this great hunt to find, a good, reliable car that would last me a while. And I came across a Juke and got it for what I thought was a good deal, but now looking back, it's probably not a great deal. And it was my dream car. And then once I paid it off right before we got married, right?
Well, that's the part I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So Sarah had been saving up with the anticipation of traveling and getting to see the world. And instead of doing that, she met me.
Which was much better than traveling and seeing the world, I might add.
I would agree. Who wants to travel the world all by yourself? What good is traveling the world if you have no one to share it with?
Yeah, that would be pretty sad. I didn't think about that part, though, so. I was young and free and independent.
So Sarah had all of this money saved up where she had been working for a job and she had the dreams of going out and traveling. And what she chose to do with it instead, with a little bit of financial counsel, was to pay off her car in full before she said, I do. In doing that, she saved us about $250 a month. In doing so, she owned her car free and clear, which made her moving states and transferring from Florida to West Virginia a little bit easier. And she was able to come into the marriage with less debt and less weight than what she initially had. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was nice to come into a whole new way of living and not have an extra expense like weighing over our heads as newlyweds. We already had your car payment that we still had for a little while into our marriage. And so it was just nice not having something else to add to the budget and be like, oh, yeah, this is another expense that we have to account for every month.
So when I came into the marriage, I did have very little money in my savings, but I had a brokerage account that I had set up after I sold my first vehicle, a 2004 40th anniversary silver Mustang, if we get a photo up right now. And I kept that thing spotless.
I think they deserve to see what a juke looks like if you got to show your Mustang.
Put the frog back up. Spotless. I kept it very well over the years, and it sold for a mere $2,000. But I took that $2,000 after tithe and put a little bit of extra money with it and opened up a brokerage account. And then I forgot that the brokerage account existed until it came time for me to go get Sarah's ring.
Which was a very good way to spend that money, I might say.
With a little bit to spare.
Yeah. Yep.
So all of this to say, what you bring into the marriage in the storehouse, whether it's in a brokerage account or in mutual funds or even in a Roth IRA, which I learned after 10 years of investing in a Roth IRA, you can pull money out for things such as housing projects, which we were actually able to do with my Roth IRA that I'd opened when I was 19. There's almost nothing in there, by the way, if you're curious. And there's almost nothing in the brokerage account. But that little bit of money I had saved up has made a big difference in our ability to cash flow certain things that we have seen the need to go spend on. It appreciated over that short 5-year period significantly, more than I thought it was going to appreciate. And it's given us freedom in times of trouble that we would not have had otherwise. What does that mean in the season of waiting? We need to get our cars paid off.
Save, save, save. I know it's easy. And to a sense, I think you should be able to, have little luxuries in your time of singleness and waiting. But if you are looking towards your future of, I want a relationship and I do want to get married, it would be very wise to try to save instead of just spend all your money as it's coming in. Because I did a good bit of that, like in my time of working, like having a full-time job right after I graduated. And while it was nice to just be able to go out every weekend and go have this big shopping haul, I like now looking back, I could have saved a lot more money than I did. And like Seth said, I had enough to pay off my car, which was good. And then some, a little extra, but it's definitely very wise to save while you're in that single phase of waiting to find your person. Save as much as possible.
I want you to be the person that when you come to that spouse, if they are the dumb ones that didn't listen to Weighing and Finding, and they are dumb for not listening to Weighing and Finding, because this is the best podcast ever.
I mean, I think we're probably kind of biased.
Maybe just a little biased.
But there are definitely some, really good tips out there that you can get, not just from our podcast about managing your money, but you look at people like Dave Ramsey who are out there literally telling you how to become a millionaire if you follow his steps. But even more so than that, the Bible has very basic rules, guidelines to follow that can help you make money decisions to put you in a better place. And the Bible says not to be in debt, not to owe anyone anything. So if you have debt, it would be really wise to try and get that, taken care of, paid off before you enter, a marriage. Unless it's obviously a house, which is the one thing Dave Ramsey talks about.
You want to know my greatest regret from being single for so long?
What's that?
It was really that I wish, personally, especially after what happened in 2020 and 2021, I wish I had had a property, a home, a property, something that I could have sunk a little bit of money into, made the monthly payments on the mortgage, and flipped when the time came.
Yeah, and then made that money back, if not more, because property right now is at a good market high, I guess.
Yeah, property's pretty well an all-time high. If you didn't buy property before 2020, you missed out. And that includes me. I missed out. I ended up buying property in 2020, but the Lord blessed us greatly because the house price that we had was set in 2018.
Wow. Yeah. And it was, considerably lower than, especially in our neighborhood, considerably lower than what it could have been. And our house right now, if it hadn't been sold in 2020, when Seth bought it, it would probably be a lot more, if we were to buy it this year.
I was looking at Zillow.com a little bit today, and if you go down the road just not even a mile, not even a half a mile from where we live, there is a 2-story home that sold for $310,000, and it was wrecked.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Our house was dated, but that was pretty much the only thing wrong with the house. Just cosmetics, really. Other than the garage having a little bit of issues.
That does bring me to another story that I wanted to tell before we close out this podcast, and this is going to be one of our shorter ones. We're getting back into the swing of things, and 30 minutes of recording is not going to be what it used to be. Well, I did say that I had a brokerage account that was able to help me when I got back from Florida before I got married to Sarah to buy her ring. We were able to pay off her car, and then the Lord blessed us greatly in the first 3 months of marriage that we were able to pay off my Jeep. And we do have to live right now with a budget. We have a son, we have Sarah and myself, we have our home and our payment. We don't have cable, we don't have internet at the house. We live frugal as we can. But I will contrast it. I had a friend of mine who got married last year, and her husband were both homeowners before they got married. He is an engineer, I believe, and she is a school teacher. And she owned a home independently before she knew him, and he owned a home independently before he knew her. They were able to take one of those homes and sell it. And because she was a homeowner and she was able to turn around and sell it, as far as their financial wellness, why I don't ask, I know that they're doing overall well. I've never heard them gripe about money. I have seen the type of vehicles they're able to drive, and I have seen that overall they appear to be comfortable. I'm not trying to dig into their personal life. You wouldn't know them from Adam even if you came to our church. But they were wise. And they were wise in their season of waiting. And that has left them profitable in their season of finding. When you get to the season of finding, you have marriage expenses. How big of a wedding are you going to want? Even if it's going to be a courthouse wedding, how big of a house do you want? How big is your down payment going to be? How big are your monthly payments? Women, are you all going to go work until you have a baby, or are you going to work even after you have a child? What's his income going to be? What's his income going to be in 5 years, in 10 years? When will he be able to retire? Women, if he can't support your retirement, are you going to have to go to work after the first 20 years and all of your kids are walking and moving on? These are the type of things we have to think about. What we can do is we can save. We can be savers, we can be frugal, we can work hard, and we can have a plan. A plan that says, if my wife is going to be a stay-at-home, I'm going to have more money saved up. If my wife is going to be a stay-at-home, but then she has to go build her own retirement, she's going to have to find a way to go to work after the first 22 years of our marriage so she can have a little bit in her savings. Am I going to have life insurance? Life insurance is something that when I was single, I didn't have, and there are some people who would tell you when you're single, you should have life insurance. I always said that if something happened to me before I got married, that my parents could just shove me into a wooden box and I'd be fine. That was my personal take on it, so I did not spend money on life insurance before I got married. But that's a personal decision. You can talk to your parents about it, you can think about it, but when you're single, you don't need much, if any, life insurance. If you're like me and you're fine with being shoved in a wooden box and buried in the backyard, then that's a risk you're willing to take. Once you get married, things change. You have to talk about your retirement. You have to talk about your life insurance. You have to talk about your debts. And you need to get rid of the credit card debt today. Cut back on your lifestyle. Give up your $5 Starbucks drink every day, because if you go 10 days to Starbucks and you spend $5 a trip, that's $50 in 2 weeks. $50 in 2 weeks, 10 days. You want to go for 20? $100 in 4 weeks. That is 20 days, which would be 4 weeks if it was every weekday. So you're skipping Sundays and you're skipping your Saturdays, your Sabbath. Think about the money you're spending. Think about where you can save. And think about how you can invest that money in your season of waiting so you can be fruitful in your season of finding.
And for the girls out there that are having issues with your shopping apps on your phone, I know you have Jane, I know you have Shein, I know you have all of these apps that are so easy to click on and just go shop crazy, because I was one of those girls. Delete the apps. If it's something that's causing you to spend more money than you are saving, or to spend more money than you really should be, just delete the app. Delete the temptation. Just take it off of your screen. You will feel much better in the long run if you do that.
I'd like to thank you for listening to today's episode of Waiting and Finding. We are so excited to be back after a hiatus.
Yeah, we took a long break there for a little while.
You're also very special to us. We care about you, and we want you to thrive in your season of waiting. So you're going to be ready in that wonderful season of finding.